Loose again. Edwards off the running. Puts it back down to Edwards. They hand it off to Johnson. Boise State has won. Right now, and they take a downfield shot. And the catch is made. It's Vernon Williams. Goes to the free. Touchdown. Going for the corner. He got it.
South Carolina fans, welcome in. It's time for the Gridiron Uncensored podcast, and we are doing a preview of your season that's coming up. Trev, I'm excited to talk about this team. A lot of hype around them. Yeah, there's a lot of hype here. Obviously, quarterback position, Beamer at coaching staff. There's a lot of talk on the web, if you will, about what this team's going to do in 2025. Guys, thank you for coming in. It's Brendan and Trevor tonight. And, of course, we're going through season previews of all the teams. So we're rolling through the SEC. Trev, we always like to go back to 24.
Yeah, let's take a look at what South Carolina did.
Quick look. And, again, we know you fans know what happened. But this is more for anybody else that just chimes in or, checks in.
I thought they had an amazing season. All things with how badly I talked about them. I think they heard me.
I know. I think you last year you were
I was hating on some. I still don't really like Beamer all that much as a coach, but I mean, hey, when you have a stellar freshman quarterback and you have a ridiculously fast wide receiver and you got a decent defense, a solid defense. I mean,
that
came together good for them.
Yeah, I mean, and really, I think it might have surprised some people on the outside looking in. But when you look at the 2024 schedule, it was, really just a great season. That first couple of losses, the loss to LSU was on some crazy shit, a BS penalty at the end, helped LSU win that game. The Ole Miss blowout did happen, and then Alabama was a very tight loss. But then when you look at the rest of the season.
Yeah, but other than that, man, it's like they handled their season and that what I would consider a decently tough schedule, considering the way Vandy was playing last year, considering the way Clemson wasn't doing as great. But I mean, like bringing Alabama down to the wire, who was a playoff team or could have been a playoff team.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, like, I thought that they had a phenomenal season. And,
even Clemson had the issues early on, but they figured it out, and they were a playoff team, and you beat them. And I made an argument that South Carolina should have been the team to get into the playoff between the battle with Ole Miss, Alabama, and South Carolina. They were all fighting at the end there. Who should get in? Who should get left out? And I looking at the schedule, I know they had the wins over Ole Miss and Alabama had the wins over South Carolina, but the way they closed out the season, they didn't get hammered by Kentucky. They didn't get hammered by Oklahoma if you're Alabama. So that's where I was kind of like, well, maybe and they just beat Clemson at the very end there, which was at the end playing for the ACC title game. So. Whatever. Right. You guys know how it is, but that's kind of where I was leaning, was going South Carolina being the last team in if it played out that way. But either way, 2024 sets up a nice building block going into 25. And Trev, this team, again, mention it. They have a lot of hype, lots of like. Over under, I'll mention again, but right now it's 7.5. Returning projection. Yeah. I've fucking lost my brain. What the hell am I about to say, Trevor? Returning
production.
Thank you. I'm like, oh God. Listen, I only had one beer at dinner too. Anyway, it's at 58%.
Lies.
Okay, it was 2. Okay. But still, like that, come on. Either way, 58% production returning, and then 17th in S&P plus. So the numbers are good. When you look at the offensive and defensive total numbers from 24, it was 45th and 16th respectively. And now you move into the coaching changes, anything like that, Trevor, that you're seeing that really
changes. Not so much changes, but some faces that were in different positions. Mainly Mike Shula going from a senior offensive analyst, primarily working with solely quarterbacks, to taking over the reins at offensive coordinator, still working with the quarterbacks, but he's going to be calling the shots on the offensive side of the ball this season. Which I mean, he's got experience that dates back all the way to 1988.
Yeah, he's been around.
He's been around for a minute. And we all know the last name Shula kind of holds some weight in the football world.
Yeah, it certainly does. And go ahead.
No, yeah. So that's my main takeaway as far as somebody that's stepping into a role that he hasn't actually held the offensive coordinator position in quite a while. So I'm really curious to see what kind of offense he kind of comes up with. How much, if it's going to be a lot different, is it going to just be spread them out and let Sellers just sling it all over the field?
We'll see. Yeah, I wonder, what wrinkles he's added over the time, because like you said, he's, it has been a minute, but I mean, he's worked with Cam Newton and everything, in between, just about. So
I think the first stint as offensive coordinator, some of you might remember this team. Those of you that might be about as old as I am, but he was offensive coordinator for Tony Dungy's Tampa Bay Bucks from 96 to 99.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and we kind of know what those teams are. That's the Warren Sapp days.
That's a name I haven't heard in a minute, old Tony Dungy.
Old Tony Dungy, that's right.
Man. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Guys, let us know what you think as fans. And, obviously you've heard, more, maybe, you've got some more like cool stats on him. Let us know in the comments. Obviously remember him from, being a head coach at Alabama, back in the day when they were in their dark era. But then, obviously he switched off coordinator, coaching, quarterbacks coach, and he's got a great rapport with Sellers, is, everything that I've read and my understanding. So that helped make that move to promote him.
Yeah, I think from what I read, he started off as just a regular offensive analyst, and then right before the season started, he bumped up to senior offensive analyst, and now he's the offensive coordinator.
Yeah,
that's a big, very quick progression. Yeah, considering he just came on in 2024.
Yeah, so I think that they like what they got, and of course, again, quarterback, you don't want him to leave with the era of the portal. He feels comfortable there. He's been around the block in Shula, so we'll see how this works out. But when we talk about, so that's coaching side of it, and then you bring him, what else do you bring in around Sellers? Well, you got to talk transfer portal in this era. And when you look at this class for, South Carolina, it's the 15th in the country. And really, I mean, they brought in a ton of good players. Brownlow Dindy, Aaron Nolan for a backup quarterback coming in from Ohio State. Faison, Newsom Jr. I mean, there's a bunch to name. 18 total coming in and 23 leaving. A couple of guys that I wrote down as, key out, and not necessarily that they were going to start. Maybe they did get pushed out, but just, guys that moved on. Camaro was one, Wendell Gregory, Pringle, guys like that. It sucks to lose, even depth-wise. Like Mangram's another one at wide receiver. He's probably not going to, be much of an impact this season. But, he's moving on, going to greener pastures, and that depth kind of always hurts to lose guys that or you followed in recruiting. Anything in the portal that you see that stands out to you, buddy?
Let's see. Defense. In general, in a word, defense stands out to me in the portal. They attacked the defense in the portal, in my opinion. I know they got a few offensive linemen, obviously Aaron Nolan, things like that. But when you look at it overall, I think that the defense is going to get a huge boost this season from the portal, between the edge rushers like Demon Clowney from Louisville, Brennan Cisse from North Carolina State, and a couple others like Gabriel Brownlow Dindy, who was a former 5-star over at Texas A&M. Jordan Dingle is a tight end, not very highly touted, but he's a very solid, big-bodied, 6'4", 242 tight end out of Kentucky. I like Jaylen Brown too out of Missouri. Both the D line is going to be sick. This season, I think.
Let's just get into it. I mean, the team's going to be good. Offensively, we'll start off. We've mentioned Sellers. We know the game that he has. He can run. Yep. He can throw. Cut down on the interceptions, turnovers from earlier in the season, and really carried the team through the end. And he's got everything going for him in another off season, another growth season, and now you got other wide receivers that he can throw to. Coming through the portal. And then you got, guys like Faison and Attaway in the backfield to really help that out. You're hoping Faison steps in and he's the dude immediately. And I think he can be. A lot of young wide receivers. You want them to step up.
Yeah, lots of young wide receivers coming in.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's guys all over the offense. And then you mentioned defense, Dingle coming in. Like, you need him to be the guy immediately. Now, there's depth. There's some depth there. But you want him to come in from the portal from Kentucky and use that frame to be a safety valve, and give him, him being Sellers, something to rely on. But I think the offense is going to be just good, just fine. The offensive line's got depth. Transfers coming into plug. Boaz Stanley is one of them. There's guys. Newsome mentioned him earlier, coming over from Western Kentucky. So you've got players coming in from across the board to plug in the holes to keep this offense churning and maybe try to get up over that. Like you said, it was 45th last year. How much higher can it climb? We'll see. But Sellers is going to be electric. Trev, defensively, you mentioned, unless you got anything else on offense. I mentioned
all of them because I was like, when I was looking at this, I was super excited for the defensive side of the ball. I mean, we already know that South Carolina surprised us with how well they played defense last season, and plugging in a bunch of these high caliber players on that already stout defense, I feel like is just a recipe for success. But we'll see how everybody plugs in because, Brennan, we know from history that not always does getting these high caliber players into a system doesn't always work out.
And that's true. And, we talk a lot of portal on here just because it's so much change, but there's recruiting is such an important piece still. People say it's not. I've seen comments like that on Twitter where they're like, recruiting, an argument can be made that, recruiting's dead. There's no need to do it. No, that's not. Go look at Colorado. Go look at, Florida State last year. Yeah, now they're still recruiting well, but they went heavy on the portal. They expected so much, and then they fell to pieces. So no, you need to build a base that fits the culture. And I do think Beamer's doing that. So when we look at the defensive side, they, again, 16th in the country last year, but what really stood out was, the defensive line play and the ability to get after the passer. Dylan Stewart, of course, is the main, cat that you got to look at on that side of it. He's an absolute animal out on the field. And then you got Brian Thomas as well on the other side. And then, on the interior of that D-line, you've got the portal making it up, with a lot of these transfers. We mentioned, Dindy, but then also you have Xavier Hardy coming back too. So there's guys that, they've got plenty of reps. You've got production returning, and then you plug in with, fill the holes with the portal. That's exactly how it's supposed to be done.
Yeah, and you know what this tells me, Brennan, is that means that basically anybody that's playing South Carolina this season, your offensive line is not going to have a break.
Yeah.
You're going to have one front four come in, and then a whole new front four is going to come in with about the same level, if not just a slightly bit less talent and aggression and rest. So it's going to be I think it's going to be very good for South Carolina on the defensive side of the ball, especially on the front seven. I think that they have done, I don't know. I love this one. This is probably one of my favorite transfer portal gets all like that they've done across the board as far as focusing on defensive line play and getting a solid replacements and not replacements. I guess that's not the wrong word. Solid
subs.
Yeah. Like and not saying that these guys are subs because they could definitely start, but it is very possible. But this particular transfer portal class, I think, is one of the best. Even though it's not rated the best, I still think it is one of the best.
I think it's a really solid class, and then so that's just up front, and then on the linebacker side, it's going to be a lot of new linebackers. Fred Johnson is still there; he can step in. I mean, we talked about the guys up front, but then you look at Onkwo coming over also from Alabama. That's a guy that's going to step in. He's got a good size frame to him, 6'3", probably 230 range at this point. So I mean, linebacker is going to be good, and then safeties. I mean, you just got dudes all over the field: Kilgore, Smith, Williams, all returning. Cornerback, you mentioned, guy coming over from NC State, Collier coming back. I mean, it's a loaded room.
It is, and then not to be outdone, the recruiting class. I mean, they've got a guy coming over who's rated as far as the number 1 D lineman in the country from the community college route. So they got a JUCO transfer coming in by the name of Xavion Hardy, who's 6'6", 280, and he's a D lineman. Yeah. So I mean, like I am excited about your South Carolina team this year, guys. I'm not gonna say I may not like your coach, but I definitely like your team.
Yeah, I'm curious, where you think the floor and stuff is when we talk schedule. Real quick,
I'm ready to look at that. But
yeah, I guess holes before we get into that, holes on the team that you're seeing, because I feel pretty good about this squad. Maybe it's the young wideout.
Now, I will say, I would say that the biggest question mark for me is the wide receiver room. We all know what Nick Harbert can do. We pretty much know what he can pull, but we're talking about a pretty much a revamped wide receiver room. I mean, they're bringing in, by my count, 4 or 5 4-star wide receivers and the recruiting side of things.
Yeah.
And Brendan, you might be able to correct me, but I did not see it one wide receiver in the transfer.
Yeah, none that I'm tracking. None
that I saw, and none that we're seeing on 247.
Yeah,
but they did bring a ton in at the freshman side of things, and there's 4 stars at the wide receiver position coming in. 2 of which are in the top 200 in the nation as far as ranked, and they are number 2 and number 3 ranked wide receivers in the state of South Carolina. So there's some good ones in there that could potentially make a big difference.
So you take what you bring back. You've got a young receiver core. If the offensive line steps up and allows Sellers the time, watch out. Trev, let's talk some schedule here.
Yeah, let's take a look at that.
Because when I do floors and ceilings, I like to try to be very conservative about it. Based on the knowledge that we have. When I looked at the schedule, my initial thoughts are, okay, Virginia Tech, that's a tough start. But how tough? I mean, we're expecting them to be something last year, and they were.
So it's the kickoff game, so it's a neutral site, so that's good.
It could be a bloodbath early. I mean, South Carolina could come out and just nuke this team.
Could be. Yeah.
Vandy, I mean, you've got Pavia saying they're going to Natty, so I mean that's something you gotta watch. We just covered them. If you want to go, check out, that what we think about that team. Missouri, that's going to be a team that is dangerous. They've got a light schedule, so I mean it's not easy. Kentucky's a team that I'm high on. So like when I'm looking at these teams, I see losses. I can see losses. LSU can get you, Oklahoma can get you, Bama can get you, Ole Miss can get you, Texas A&M can get you. Clemson, of course, can do it. So it's like you look at it, but you got to pair that with the what this roster has. And I'm like, if all things go horribly wrong, whatever, I say 6-6. The over/under's at 7.5, so it's not far off. For a floor, but ceiling, I mean, Trevor, I feel good about this team getting up in that 10 win range. It's a tough schedule, but I think they can do it.
So the first 5 games, I'm not as concerned as you are.
Yeah.
The first 5 games. I think that they have the talent from what they're bringing in and what they're carrying over to hang with and really put a hurt on just about it. Because I think they walk in with the best offense in each one of those first 5 games.
Yeah, I can roll that.
And I would say that they also have probably the best defense out of all of these teams. Look, SC State, I'm sorry to insult you, but
yeah,
South Carolina State, I'm sorry.
Now listen, if they pull off some shit, okay, we're done with this.
But I really think that they should be able to walk out of this first 5-0. Now it's not going to be an easy 5-0,
right?
I mean, because like you said, Kentucky's bringing some good talent with them. Missouri, and it's in Columbia, so that's or Missouri. Sorry, I just realized Columbia, Missouri. This is also God bless.
That'll throw you off.
Anyway, but yeah, it's in Missouri, so that's a tough one. But I think, other than the Missouri game, I think that they would be probably favored. Missouri, they might not be favored, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Missouri, a lot of wild cards because there's a lot of new quarterbacks. Missouri's got Privilege coming in from Penn State. That dude he's got talent. He can run and he can throw, so that's an added ripple. Vanderbilt took down, Bama last year. We saw them play last year. We all know how Vandy can be. And then Kentucky's kind of a wild card. So I do think that South Carolina can go in and win all those, but even getting tripped once, I can see it. But if you want to get
that real conversation is that second set of games.
Yeah, that middle section's nasty.
We started with LSU, Oklahoma, Alabama, and Ole Miss. Now, granted, you got to go into LSU and you got to go into Ole Miss, but you get Oklahoma and Alabama at home, which is nice.
And I mean, Alabama and Ole Miss are starting fresh quarterbacks too.
That's true.
One's a redshirt freshman for Ole Miss, and then Alabama, we don't know if it's going to be Mack or Ty Simpson. So I mean, it's just
I've seen for Bama. I've seen it both ways. I think I've seen it just about a 50-50 split on either one.
Yeah. So it's a tough schedule. Like I'm not gonna.
Then you have ridiculous people saying Nussmeier is going to win the Heisman and stuff. So, I don't prescribe to ridiculousness.
Hey,
I would put Sellers over the Heisman. I would put Sellers for the Heisman over fucking Nussmeier.
Hey, you're gonna get a lot of fans that way, buddy. I mean the dude's electric. I could see him being in the running, especially if they get in that 10-win realm and they're on the play. I mean that's playoff talk right there. Right. And then if you can finish out and beat Clemson, who's a national title favorite. I mean, this team, the sky's the limit. It's just, how far can you go and just get out of your own way?
Yeah, look, let's just be honest. South Carolina, you're not going to get out of this unscathed.
Yeah.
There are going to be a loss or two. It's going to happen. Who it happens to really does matter this season. So if you lose to LSU and they are still in the top 10, that's an okay loss.
Yeah.
That's a good loss. As long as you guys make it a game and you lose, that's actually a good loss.
Oh, yeah.
As long as they keep that momentum there. Now, you don't want to lose to a 25th ranked Oklahoma in that same breath.
Right.
So that middle section is super important, especially if you come out of that first 5 games at 5-0. It's super important to navigate that properly. Not saying to try and lose, but if you were to lose one, it would be the LSU game would be the one that I'd be okay with. Because I don't think Alabama will be 9. And you play them in October.
And as we saw last year, with you being on the cusp of the playoff, you can't get blown out. You can't get blown out like you did last year to Ole Miss.
Nope.
So, I'm not trying to
have to make it a game each game. Have to be competitive each game for sure.
Absolutely, because that shit does matter. All right, guys. Well,
Clemson at the end of the season, who knows? But I really hope you guys win.
Yeah.
Because I prescribe to wanting chaos. I love chaos.
I'm a fan of chaos too. I'm just excited to see what goes down. This is going to be a fun season.
If right. I love the chaos.
South Carolina fans, please let us know what you think. Hit us up in the comments, share, subscribe, all that stuff. If we missed anything, if you're even more optimistic than what we've seen, because I was like, damn, this might be one of the most optimistic episodes we've had.
I've never talked about South Carolina the way I'm talking about him.
No, he hasn't. Go look at last year's show. It's out there. It's on YouTube. And also, again, if you want to watch any of the teams that we're talking about you playing and what we think, go check out the YouTube page. Go check out the Spotify. They're all on there. and it's easily titled. You'll see it. So we do
appreciate
your time.
Shoot us messages. We'll respond. I promise.
Absolutely. All right, guys. We'll see you around. Thanks.
Take it easy, Gamecocks.